Dude, I've been sitting here for like 10 minutes, I swear to God, thinking this video thing was going, and I got to do it all over again. You didn't know I had a freaking sword. Excalibur, did you? I got this one and I got another one. Freaking swords in this house. My Chinese sword. For my ninjutsu techniques. Alright. So here's the update. I've been a traveling fool. Crazy. I was in Tampa. You know that. I interviewed Louis. He was a great guy from the Bronx. He's the only guy I've ever met who literally was a construction worker, then became a doctor at GE Healthcare, and then now is a taxi driver or drives around for the hotel that I was at and dropped me off at Seasons 52. What a freaking resume. I love it. We would have never have learned that about that guy unless I interviewed him. So I think that's going to be the mantra going forward. I think that will be the mantra. Will be, kind of riding with Rennick, random conversations, asking people about what they're all about. What are they doing? How are they helping people? How are they not helping people? Why are they so angry? Why are you being a bitch? Why are you being an asshole? And you know what? Just kind of figure it out as we go and make it completely random. What do you think? I think that's a great idea, and I'm going to do it. All right, whether you like it or not. So you can enjoy the ride, or you can just unsubscribe. I have 19 subscribers now. 19. You know how awesome that is? I had like 100 views on one of my videos. It's my man. Right, pal? All right. My best friend. All right, so, we've been kind of sticking with this theme here a little bit about getting out of your comfort zone and doing crazy stuff. And what I realized is, while I was doing this thing that I'm going to share with you, the people who are in, like, the arts, people who say to themselves, like, I'm going to be an artist, I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to be a sculptor, I'm going to be a photographer, I'm going to be whatever it happens to be. I'm starting to realize that these people go through a little bit about what I've been trying to go through over the course of the last, 3 weeks, right? Which is doing something that I don't typically do because it's uncomfortable, right? Like, for example, you guys all know, I've said it 100 times, the Pat Summerall kind of thing. I've been sticking on that mantra for a little while, which is, what did you do, with the gifts I gave you, kind of thing. And so I haven't shared this story, and I want to share with you. I'll keep it pretty brief, but I think it's compelling because it says something about getting out of your comfort zone, which I think a lot of artists do much better than I've ever done, right? I mean, they just kind of throw it out to the universe, they see what happens, and then, they kind of figure it out, and either they choose to, grind out what they're doing, or they make great art, or I don't know how it works, but I think it's pretty cool. So I had that connection. I felt compelled to share it with you. So I sat down at my desk. It was probably about 3 months ago, and I had an epiphany. I had this realization that I needed to call the New York Giants. So the New York Giants, and just about every single football team in the NFL, they have a department within their organization. I'm not going to say what it is, but they have a department that's specifically geared towards helping their new recruits coming in from the draft, current, rostered folks and veterans, right? So this individual is typically a football player, and when they bring in someone to the organization for an interview, they're not bringing in to interview the person whether or not they can play football. They're in the stadium because clearly they play football and they're awesome, but now they want to get to understand the actual person, right? So, tell us a little bit about your background, tell us a little bit about where you came from, help us understand, what growing up, wherever you grew up was like, were your parents divorced, were you not divorced? I mean, they can kind of get into that level of detail because they want to understand what kind of person they're getting. They want to kind of understand, who it is that they're, bringing into their organization and what they should be prepared for, right? And then also what they should do to help mentor this guy or this guy to, move themselves along, right? From like a career path perspective, because when these guys, come on site, they're getting stroke checks for, 100, 200, 300 million dollars. And these young rookies at 23 years old are like, hey, I'm going to go buy a Lamborghini and I'm going to go make it rain at the local strip club, which is not a bad idea. But yeah, you probably don't want to tweet about that. So in any event, here's my story. I'll try to keep it really brief. I sat down at my desk. I realized that I love the New York Giants. You guys all know that. So I decided I was going to call the New York Giants, and I was going to call this division and tell them that they needed to hire me. Not because I have any special experience in that department. I just wanted to work for the Giants because I think that's what would be a great job. So I pick up the phone. I call the New York Giants. I immediately hang up the phone. Literally, I'm like, when they hire me, because this person's going to pick up the phone and immediately know that I'm awesome, that when they hire me, I'm going to have to move to New York. I'm going to have to leave this awesome office. And you know what? I'm going to have to move. And I don't want to move. I'm just trying to think if this is the best lighting. Now that I am like producing my own channel, I have to worry about this kind of stuff. So in any event, what's the next best football franchise that I should call here in the local Charlotte market? The Carolina Panthers. So yeah, I pick up the phone. I call the Carolina Panthers. Immediately hang up the phone. As most of you guys know, I'm in sales, so on the off chance that somebody actually picks up the phone and you have to talk to them, I had asked myself, what am I going to say? What if this guy picks up the phone and I'm just like, and don't know what to say? So I called this guy. He picks up the phone. Hello, sir. My name is Rennick Morris. I know you have absolutely no idea who I am, but I promise I'll be brief. I'm in the midst of a career transition. I'm in the midst of trying to change, what I want to do or what I think I want to do for a living. I believe that I'd be a great asset to you and the Carolina Panthers with regards to helping and mentoring your kids, and I want to see if you can have lunch. My man, this was like 3 months ago. My man was like, Rennick, you do know that we're in the Super Bowl, right? I was like, I'm well aware of that. That is a very good point. So I'm a little busy right now. I can't talk to you. I can't have lunch with you. Because, quite frankly, you're a little weird. He didn't say that, but I kind of got that in between the lines. He was very calm, very, put together, professional. So he says, call me back in a month. I call him back in a month. He says, I'm going on vacation after they lost the Super Bowl, which I said, I don't blame you, and call me back after that. So I call him back, and I said, hey, it's Rennick. I talked to you a couple times. I told you I want to come work for you. Can I take you out to lunch? And he says, yeah, you can take me out to lunch. Where do you want to go? I said, I want to go here on this date. Will you meet me there? He said, yeah. Boom. Day comes. Driving to Charlotte. I'm at this location. My man's a half an hour late. Half an hour late. I'm like, this guy is not coming. He's just not. I'm like, so what? It doesn't matter. The guy emails me. He says, hey, man, I'm running late. I'll be there in 10 minutes. So boom. The next thing you know, we're sitting down across from each other like you and I right now. And, I said, hey, listen, I'm just so fired up that you gave me an opportunity to have lunch with you. This is the reason why I'm reaching out to you. This is what I'd like to try to understand. And he says, just, hey, Rennick, hold on for a second. He said, on my way over here, I'm asking myself, while I'm driving over here, why am I having lunch with this guy? And I was like, hey, man, you gotta tell me the answer to that question. What's the answer? Why are you? And this is what he said. He said, you know what? I get phone calls from financial people telling me all day long that I can help their rookies and all of their people on their roster, and even himself, make millions of dollars if they invest with him. He gets people calling from all different kinds of walks. He gets sold all day about why they should be in front of his team, right? And he said, Rennick, when you called me and you asked me what you asked me, you didn't ask me for anything. You asked me if I'd have lunch with you to talk to you about my job. And he said I was compelled by that, right? So I was honest. I was upfront. I was compelled to do that. And so because you didn't ask me for anything, just lunch, and I was going to talk about my job with you, I said, why not? That's why I'm here. Help me understand, Rennick, why you think you'd be a good fit to help mentor my rookies in the North and the Carolina Panthers. He asked me that question. And, we had a 2-hour conversation. 2-hour conversation. At the end of the conversation, a great lunch, he says to me, "Where do we go from here?" I was like, "Man, I don't know. Where do we go from here?" I'm like, "Look, again, I'm just glad that I had a chance to have lunch with you. I'm glad that we have an opportunity to connect. Look, how about this? I'll put together a PowerPoint presentation on some of the things that I could add value to. I've been sales in the recruiting world for a long period of time. I think I can help with interviewing. I think I can help with, helping your team and all your teammates get adjusted to the real world after they retire from the NFL, or just, mentor them in general. If you guys know me, you'd know I'd be a great mentor, and it's a perfect fit for me, I think." So he goes, "That sounds like a great plan. Do that." 2 weeks go by. I call him on the phone. I say, "I sent you this PowerPoint presentation. Just what you asked for. There you go." He goes, "I got it, Rennick. I really appreciate it. And thanks." And that was it. So, I'll probably end up calling him. The draft came and whatnot. But the point of sharing that story with you is that, look, if you don't get out of your comfort zone, and if you don't stretch yourself, and if you don't do the things that you may say to yourself while you're asking yourself, "Should I do this?" you'll never go through an experience just like that. I mean, this is a great story. This is the kind of story that, is compelling. It's talking about doing stuff that, what if he said yes? What if he did say yes? He didn't, but what if he did? You got to ask the question, man. You got to get out there. So, I wanted to share that with you guys because I thought it was a good example of, I think, what people, do, especially who are in the artistic world, on a daily basis. They go on these, shoots and, interviews and auditions and, are constantly being stretched all the time. And it's easy to quit, man. Just easy. And I think this is about not doing that. And it's about, learning a little bit more about, what it's about living, man. That's what it's about. It's about living and not being stagnant to a routine that feels comfortable. Look, I like that too. I like structure. I like the routine. But I don't know. I just felt a little bit more alive that day than I have, before. So I wanted to share that with all you guys because I think it's worth sharing. And, I invite all of you to do the same. When you hear yourself saying that I wouldn't be good enough to do that, or when you hear yourself saying that just doesn't feel right to me, I shouldn't try, I would argue and say that's exactly probably why you should be doing it, because it is uncomfortable. And you might have an opportunity to learn something about yourself that you've never learned before. And what's better than that? So, big shout out to my girl Vicky Cook. I don't know if this comes across backwards. It does while I'm pointing it to you. But this is the mantra for today. Wake up, kick ass, be kind, ask somebody how they're doing, repeat. Wake up, kick ass, be kind, repeat.